The coming year will not transform you. What you choose to cut will. True transformation begins where tolerance ends. Every weakness you defend, every distraction you allow, every indulgence you justify. These are the hidden weights that keep you ordinary. The Stoic knows that renewal does not arrive with the flip of a calendar. It comes when a person draws a clear line between who they will continue to be and what they will no longer accept. You do not need more time. You need fewer compromises. Most people stumble into the new year carrying the same habits that shattered the last one. They make promises while shielding the very behaviors that sabotage them. They claim they want change, yet cling to what prevents it. The disciplined act differently. They burn the bridges back to comfort. They cast aside the anchors masquerading as pleasures, people, and patterns. The choice to rise is never a single moment. It is a decision made every morning in silence when no one is watching. This is not about resolution. This is about reconstruction. Cutting what weakens you is not loss. It is liberation. The Stoic approaches the new year as a battlefield, not a celebration. Every habit, every influence, every indulgence must prove its worth or be removed. Strength is built through subtraction. Clarity is earned through elimination. What follows are the 9 cuts that forge the person you were always capable of becoming, the person you would have been, had you dared to release what was never meant to stay. Let's begin. 1. Remove the short-term pleasures that erode discipline. Short-term indulgences shape the modern mind into fragility. The world is designed for stimulation without effort, reward without discipline, comfort without growth. Every tap, every scroll, every impulse for instant gratification is part of a system built to weaken internal strength and dilute long-term potential. The Stoic sees what most fail to notice. Each indulgence tugs downward, a silent erosion of focus, a quiet theft of clarity. When a person seeks relief instead of mastery, they train themselves to collapse rather than rise. The pattern starts quietly. A moment of boredom leads to craving stimulation. A moment of discomfort triggers escape. A moment of stress invites relief-seeking. Over months and years, these small concessions become identity. The individual forgets how to sit with their own thoughts, how to endure the weight of effort, how to move through life without external impulses pushing them. Pleasure becomes a chain. Distraction becomes a drug. The self is slowly outsourced to impulses instead of being shaped by intention. A life anchored to short-term pleasures shrinks over time. The capacity for deep focus diminishes. The ability to choose discipline fades. Attachment to comfort grows. The individual stops being an active force and drifts as a passive participant in their own life. They consume instead of create, escape instead of endure, react instead of directing. The internal machinery softens from disuse. Strength requires resistance. Without resistance, the mind weakens. The Stoic does not condemn pleasure. The Stoic understands balance. Pleasure that is mastered strengthens life. Pleasure that masters life destroys it. There is a distinction between choosing a moment of enjoyment and building a life around escape. Ancient philosophy warned against indulgence because it did not forge character. Modern life makes indulgence constant, demanding vigilance. A person molded by comfort becomes enslaved to it. A person who rises above comfort directs their path. In the later decades of life, clarity becomes sacred. Time accelerates, priorities sharpen, distractions that once seemed harmless reveal their true cost. Every indulgence steals time from purpose. Every moment surrendered to comfort subtracts from the life still waiting to be built. Those who value progress over ease begin to see indulgence as a weight. They notice how the world pushes surrender. They choose strength in the small, unseen decisions where character is forged. Alcohol tempts with temporary relief. It dulls anxiety, slows thought, offering fleeting escape from stress. The danger is not the drink itself, but the dependency that forms when difficulty arrives and the hand instinctively reaches for relief instead of resolve. When a person turns to escape instead of endurance, the mind internalizes weakness. Willpower erodes, bit by bit. The resilient train themselves to face discomfort head-on. Relief earned through effort fortifies identity. Relief borrowed through chemicals undermines it. Binge entertainment provides endless distraction. One episode becomes 10, a fleeting moment becomes a weeknight. The brain adapts to constant stimulation and rejects effort. The individual ceases to live their own life, instead consuming the illusions of others. Time that could be invested in growth dissolves. The Stoic treats time as precious. Entertainment can be enjoyed, but never at the cost of potential. A meaningful life is built through creation, not consumption. Digital distractions and adult content exploit primal instincts. These platforms, the mind is conditioned toward fantasy without effort, dopamine without connection, stimulation without purpose, when the mind is nourished by artificial reward cycles. Reality feels sluggish. Genuine relationships feel heavier. Real challenges feel unbearable. The disciplined individual rejects artificial stimulation that rewires desire. They train in patience, presence, and authentic effort. Fulfillment emerges from reality, not from simulation. Short-term indulgence dulls ambition. When the mind is constantly fed, it loses hunger. Hunger drives action. Hunger sharpens vision. Hunger creates momentum. Comfort blunts the edge of potential. Long-term goals demand the removal of habits that soften resolve. The Stoic trims indulgence, not to deny life, but to deepen engagement with it. When desire is controlled, life expands. When desire controls, life contracts. Modern society glorifies indulgence as lifestyle. Social culture normalizes escape and labels discipline as extreme. Yet the individuals who rise in later life are those who break from this norm. They recognize the trap hidden as convenience. They reject weakness disguised as pleasure. They construct a life that demands engagement, thought, and effort. Fulfillment begins where indulgence ends. Discipline begins with awareness. A person must understand which habits erode the mind. They must see where they choose comfort over growth. They must acknowledge where pleasure has become routine rather than earned. Within this clarity, direction takes shape. The Stoic does not wait for perfect timing. They remove what diminishes them and begin building what strengthens them. The path forward begins with restraint. Restraint is not punishment, it is reclamation of sovereignty. Every moment of self-command trains the nervous system to follow intention. Every refusal of indulgence reinforces identity. The individual lays a foundation of strength through persistent practice. Mental stability rises, focus deepens, decisions become deliberate rather than reactive. The mind must relearn simplicity. True satisfaction is derived from progress, not escape. Fulfillment grows from clarity of action, not constant stimulation. When the individual steps away from artificial reward cycles, internal silence returns. They feel boredom again and learn to use it. They feel discomfort again and learn to transform it. They feel time again and learn to respect it. One must honor the biological systems that govern behavior. Dopamine is not an enemy, it is a tool. It must not be hijacked, it must be directed. Reward must follow effort, not precede it. When the mind earns pleasure through discipline, it grows stronger. When pleasure arrives without effort, the mind weakens. Modern culture flips this principle. Stoic practice restores it. As indulgence fades, perception sharpens. The individual sees life with greater clarity. Goals regain weight. Distractions lose allure. Self-respect rises. A person who masters impulse develops depth, patience, and strategic foresight. They make choices that serve their future self rather than soothe present fear. The world encourages surrender to convenience. The Stoic builds endurance. The world promotes stimulation. The Stoic cultivates calm. The world celebrates speed. The Stoic respects depth. The world markets escape. The Stoic chooses engagement. This path creates internal stability in a time of external chaos. Discipline honed in private becomes strength witnessed in public. Self-control exercised in small moments emerges in the architecture of a life. Many seek dramatic transformation, yet the foundation is built quietly. It solidifies when indulgence no longer dictates behavior. The individual stands firm in choice instead of drifting on impulse. Age brings advantage. Experience sharpens discernment. The mature mind understands the cost of wasted years. The Stoic uses this awareness to accelerate self-correction. There is still time to build. There is still space to rise. But the window of opportunity demands urgency. Delay wastes the most precious resource a human possesses. This is the beginning of sharpening life. One habit at a time, one act of discipline at a time. The work is internal first, external second. The individual learns to hold steady under desire. They step back from stimulation and step into clarity. They replace rush with presence, comfort with discipline, escape with engagement. The Stoic cuts indulgence because strength grows in the space indulgence once filled. When the mind stops seeking stimulation, it begins seeking purpose. When the body ceases chasing comfort, it begins building capability. When attention stops scattering, it begins focusing. This is how sovereignty returns. The removal of indulgence is not a loss, it is the reclamation of self. What remains is attention, what remains is control, what remains is time, what remains is the ability to direct destiny rather than react to the world. This foundation allows every other improvement to form. A person who removes habits that weaken discipline enters life differently. Their presence shifts, their thought sharpens, their choices align. They move from wanting change to commanding it. They live as an active architect of their future, not a passive consumer of the present. The path continues. Now attention turns to digital noise, the source of scattered thought, fractured focus, and constant distraction. The mind grows stronger by clearing the external chaos that competes for its command. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This principle applies directly to indulgence. The energy once lost to craving is redirected toward clarity. Each impulse conquered returns power to the center. The individual begins to see how huge authority they once surrendered to minor pleasures. The discipline of reclaiming it forges a new identity. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Modern indulgence programs the mind to crave endlessly. When the brain is fed constant novelty, gratitude fades when desire dominates. The Stoic reverses this process by cultivating contentment through minimalism. The less one needs to feel complete, the stronger one becomes. The pursuit of peace replaces the pursuit of excess. The internal architecture of restraint expands through repetition. At first, abstaining feels like deprivation, then it becomes liberation. When an individual masters their urges, they master themselves. What begins as denial evolves into command. Every moment of restrained impulse strengthens willpower, the strength Marcus Aurelius described as unmoved by either pain or pleasure. Environment either strengthens or undermines this process. The Stoic arranges their surroundings to reflect intention. They remove triggers, create order, and make temptation less accessible. The home becomes a workshop of willpower. Devices are silenced. Screens are turned off during hours of focus. Food, drink, and entertainment are consumed deliberately, not impulsively. Discipline becomes tangible in structure. A disciplined environment reinforces the mind each day. When simplicity surrounds a person, clarity follows. When disorder fills their space, attention fragments. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom does not come from indulgence, but from order. A structured life is not restrictive, it is liberating. It removes chaos from the field of action. When external order aligns with internal mastery, the cycle of indulgence breaks entirely. The individual no longer seeks stimulation, they seek progress. They do not flee illness, they inhabit it. Their habits, surroundings, and thoughts align in the same direction. Nothing is wasted. Every part of life begins to express strength. Restraint becomes effortless when practiced daily. The brain rewires through consistency. Impulse diminishes through neglect. Strength grows through practice. Each day of self-control becomes evidence of transformation. If it is endurable, Marcus wrote, then endure it. Stop complaining. Endurance replaces complaint. The individual learns to face boredom, craving, and discomfort with composure. This evolution reshapes identity. The Stoic no longer sees themselves as someone resisting desire. They are someone commanding it. Life simplifies. Clarity deepens. Energy no longer leaks through trivial pleasure. It condenses into focused force. From this posture, higher goals become attainable: financial independence, physical health, mastery of craft, peace of mind. What remains is quiet strength, the kind that needs no validation, no display, the kind that endures without speaking, the kind Seneca called unbreakable tranquility. This tranquility is not the absence of desire, but mastery over it. It is the ability to walk among distractions and remain untouched. It is the mark of a sovereign mind. In cutting indulgence, a person begins to live with purpose again. Hours expand, the mind sharpens, days become a rhythm of deliberate action. Gratitude replaces craving, focus replaces noise. The self, once scattered across 1,000 small pleasures, becomes unified again. This is the essence of Stoic strength, living with nothing excessive, nothing wasted, nothing uncontrolled. Chapter 2. Cut digital noise. The modern mind is under siege. Every second signals compete for attention, pulling thought into fragments too small to build anything lasting. The constant hum of digital noise has become the background sound of CI. Visualization. Screens glow in every room. Notifications puncture silence. The world has forgotten what undisturbed thought feels like. The Stoic remembers. The Stoic defends mental space as the foundation of freedom. The average person lives in reaction. Their mind jumps from feed to message to screen. Their first thoughts in the morning are not their own. Their last thoughts before sleep are not their own. Attention has been outsourced to algorithms. Curiosity has been replaced by consumption. This is not connection, it is control. The modern world does not steal freedom through force, it erodes it through distraction. Seneca warned, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. The truth is now visible everywhere one looks. The human nervous system did not evolve for constant input. The brain seeks rhythm, not interruption. It thrives on focus, not fragmentation. When every gap in time is filled with, when the mind is constantly fed stimulation, it loses depth. It no longer incubates ideas or processes emotion. It becomes shallow and restless. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. That retreat has been invaded by noise disguised as connection. Digital noise erodes introspection. Reflection demands silence. A mind bombarded by constant signals cannot hear itself think. Most people mistake information for wisdom and reaction for awareness. They scroll through the thoughts of others and neglect to form their own. Wisdom dies in the ceaseless flood of input. The Stoic reverses this by reclaiming solitude. Solitude is not isolation, it is ownership of perception. Modern culture sells stimulation as participation. To scroll is to belong, to respond is to exist. Yet every reaction is a surrender of focus. Each swipe is an offering of attention to systems that profit from disorder. The Stoic understands that attenti, on, is the purest form of currency. To spend it carelessly is to live in debt. To guard it is to grow rich in clarity. The digital world conditions compulsive response. Notifications act as psychological hooks. They operate like the lab bells Pavlov used to condition dogs. The phone vibrates and the hand moves before thought. Over time, this reflex becomes identity. The person forgets what deliberate attention feels like. They live fragmented, half in thought, half in reaction. The Stoic severs the link between stimulus and response. Epictetus taught that the only path to happiness is to cease worrying about things beyond our power. Notifications are one of them. The battle for silence is the new frontier of strength. In earlier ages, people fought for survival of the body. Now they must fight for survival of the mind. The modern battlefield is invisible. It exists in the nervous system, in the constant pull of distraction. The Stoic trains for this war by designing a life that protects attention. They use technology, but they are not used by it. Practical discipline begins with environment. The phone is a tool, not a companion. Tools must remain subordinate. The disciplined individual disables unnecessary notifications, deletes apps that exist only to consume time, and reclaims control over input. Each action fortifies the mind's walls. Order in the digital realm creates order in thought. One must build spaces where silence lives. The Stoic creates hours when devices are exiled. No sound, no screen, no signal. In this stillness the mind resets, ideas re-emerge, awareness returns to the present. Most fear silence because it confronts them with their own thoughts. But that confrontation is where strength begins. As Seneca wrote, "If you wish to be loved, love yourself." To love oneself requires time alone with the mind. Digital detox is not a trend, it is a necessity. Or sovereignty. The human mind cannot sustain endless stimulation without losing focus and depth. Those who protect silence will lead in every field. They will think longer, decide cleaner, and act with precision. In the coming years, clarity will become rare. The disciplined will possess it. The distracted will serve those who do. Every person must choose, remain a participant in the economy of attention, or become its master. The first path offers comfort, dopamine, and illusion. The second offers stillness, creativity, and power. When digital noise is reduced, the individual stops living through others' lenses. They see the world as it is, not filtered for them. Overstimulation does not only waste time, it changes perception. The mind becomes addicted to speed. Slow tasks feel unbearable. Deep work feels impossible. Attention spans shorten. Patience fades. The Stoic reverses this decay. They practice depth. They read slowly. They think before reacting. They design a daily rhythm where focus can expand. Reading a physical book becomes revolutionary. It requires single attention and patience. Each turning page is resistance training for the mind. The practice of focus builds resilience. Seneca said, "To be controlled by your passions is the worst form of slavery. Digital addiction is the new passion. It enslaves through stimulation rather than desire." The wise recognize most noise is irrelevant. 90% of daily information holds no value for personal growth or purpose. Cutting it away is not ignorance, it is efficiency. Marcus Aurelius asked, "Is this necessary?" This question applied to digital behavior restores discipline instantly. Most seen or read content is unnecessary. Silence creates distance from impulse. When a person stops reacting instantly, judgment improves. They gain power to observe before acting. This is Stoic control in motion. Thought replaces reflex. Awareness replaces stimulation. Peace replaces agitation. The noise outside may continue, but it no longer enters. The disciplined understand mental fasting's value. Just as the body sharpens through physical fasting, the mind strengthens through input-free periods. No screens, no conversation, no consumption, only awareness. In this space, creativity and intuition awaken. Thoughts align without interference. Silence sharpens the mind like a whetstone. Mental clutter accumulates like dust. Each scroll adds a layer. Each feed introduces distraction. Each opinion dilutes clarity. Cleaning the mind requires conscious subtraction. The Stoic practices this daily. They step back from the stream of input. They breathe. They write. They reflect. Through restraint, the mind regains spaciousness. Technology is neutral. Dependency is the threat. The tool itself holds no power. The relationship with it defines strength or weakness. The Stoic uses technology as an extension, not identity. They engage with purpose and withdraw with ease. They know when to act and when to turn off. Control of the switch is the true symbol of modern mastery. The danger of digital noise lies in normalizing speed. People confuse movement with progress. They scroll for hours, believing they are learning, yet retain nothing. Knowledge becomes surface level, shallow, performative. The Stoic values depth over volume. One page studied in silence outweighs 1,000 skimmed in distraction. The individual who conquers distraction becomes rare. Their clarity becomes magnetic. In meetings, they speak precisely because thoughts are undivided. In solitude, they create with power because the mind is unoccupied. In conversation, they listen fully. Presence commands respect without force. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. Focus is greatness in progress. To cut digital noise is to rebuild patience. The mind must be clarity returns when noise fades. Each day of restraint adds new capacity. Focus strengthens. Emotional volatility diminishes. Life simplifies. Seneca's words resonate through time. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Digital waste is the tragedy of the modern age. The Stoic refuses to participate. Digital silence sharpens perception. Those who practice it begin to see how illusion governs others. They witness manipulation through media, fear through repetition, and division through narrative. They do not absorb it. They remain steady. A mind that can hold peace amidst chaos becomes unshakable. The disciplined mind can listen without reacting, observe without absorbing, and use technology without becoming it. This is true autonomy. It is what Marcus Aurelius meant by being erect, not kept erect. The inner posture of focus holds firm regardless of external noise. Each time the phone is left untouched, strength grows. Each hour of silence restores sovereignty. The mind becomes a private temple, not a public space. This is where philosophy lives, not in words but in practice. The Stoic moves through noise untouched, carrying stillness as armor. When the noise ends, awareness begins, colors deepen, sounds sharpen, thought slows into precision, internal dialogue quiets. This is not withdrawal, it is return. The world is not lost, it is reclaimed. To cut digital noise is to declare independence from manipulation. It is to become the author of one's focus. It is to live awake in an age of sleepwalking. The Stoic knows control begins within. When attention obeys command, life follows. The age may be loud, but the wise rule it through silence. Chapter 3. Cut weak social circles. Every person becomes a reflection of the environment they tolerate. The character of one's circle defines the character of one's days. Weak company diminishes discipline even without intent. The conversations you hear, the habits you witness, the standards you normalize, they silently sculpt identity. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The same applies to those you keep closest. Their mindset colors your own. A weak circle may not look weak. It can appear friendly, familiar, comfortable. Yet comfort is often the first sign of decay. When those around you encourage ease over effort, distraction over purpose, indulgence over restraint, they pull you off the path of mastery. The Stoic understands that not all connections deserve preservation. Some must be released to maintain integrity. Most people remain in low-energy environments out of fear of solitude. They equate being alone with emptiness. Yet solitude is where strength rebuilds itself. Weak circles are rarely malicious. They are complacent. They make mediocrity seem normal. When you begin to rise, they interpret growth as arrogance. When you impose standards, they call it extremity. The Stoic detaches without bitterness. Epictetus said, "Show me a man who can be sick and happy, in danger and happy, dying and happy. Show me him." Serenity is not found in crowds, it is forged in silence. Energy is contagious. The moods of others seep into your own. Spend time with the undisciplined, and precision fades. Spend time with the negative, and optimism corrodes. Spend time with the scattered, and focus dissolves. The mind adapts to surroundings faster than it admits. This is why the Stoic chooses company as carefully as diet. What you consume through conversation and observation feeds the soul as food feeds the body. A weak circle prioritizes pleasure over purpose. Their gatherings revolve around avoidance, avoiding reflection, silence, and responsibility. They bond over complaints, gossip, and temporary relief. These dynamics form invisible chains. When one person seeks growth, the group resists. Growth exposes stagnation. The Stoic breaks this cycle with quiet distance, not confrontation. Departure is a strategy, not hostility. Seneca advised, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." This is realism, not elitism. The human mind absorbs, mirrors, and conforms. To ignore this is to underestimate influence. Discipline cannot survive long in an undisciplined environment. Even the strongest will eventually soften to the rhythm of the room. Therefore, the Stoic builds environments that demand strength. True friendship strengthens virtue. It does not indulge weakness. It corrects with respect and challenges with care. In a world that glorifies validation, such friendship is rare. Most prefer comfort over correction. Yet the friend who dares to challenge you respects your potential. The Stoic keeps such people close. They are mirrors of honesty, not illusions. Cutting weak ties begins internally. The first step is recognizing what each relationship contributes or consumes. Does this person sharpen clarity or blur it? Do they strengthen resolve or dilute it? Are they committed to growth or seeking distraction in yours? Reflection reveals patterns. The Stoic acts without drama. Decisions are calm, not emotional. Boundaries are enforced through absence, not explanation. In middle and later life, time is too valuable for shallow company. Conversations should expand thought, not diminish it. Shared silence with the disciplined outweighs hours of noise with the undirected. The Stoic values energy conservation. Every word, every interaction is a transaction of time and focus. The wise invest where it compounds. Weak circles fear ambition. They see drive as threat because it exposes passivity. When you structure your days, they call it obsession. When you reject distraction, they call it arrogance. When you withdraw from indulgence, they label you distant. Their resistance reflects themselves, not you. Growth unsettles stagnation. The Stoic does not apologize for progress. True strength appears when you stand apart without resentment. Separation is not pride, it is principle. They guard their energy like a fortress. They understand that integrity is fragile around those who normalize weakness. Presence in such environments erodes standards slowly, invisibly, consistently. Withdrawal restores the boundary between respect and tolerance. Some circles are built on nostalgia. Old friends from past versions of yourself remain, not because of shared vision, but because of shared memory. Yet memory cannot sustain alignment. The person you were and the person you are becoming cannot inhabit the same space indefinitely. The Stoic accepts this with grace. Gratitude for the past does not demand attachment to it. There will be resistance. The moment you begin to rise, those who remain stagnant will question your motives. They will test your resolve through ridicule or emotional manipulation. They will frame discipline as distance and silence as arrogance. The Stoic does not argue. They demonstrate. The results of consistent action speak louder than explanation. Isolation is often the transition between weakness and mastery. The mind must detox from influence before it can operate independently. Loneliness becomes the crucible where self-discipline is forged. The Stoic uses solitude as refinement, not punishment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, yet it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." Solitude builds that cliff. When weak ties dissolve, new alignments emerge. Strength recognizes strength. Those who value effort and discipline find each other naturally. The quality of one's circle shifts from quantity to depth. Conversation becomes deliberate. The energy of interaction becomes reciprocal. Mutual respect replaces validation. The Stoic no longer searches for connection. They attract it through character. The modern world promotes social excess. Constant connection masquerades as relevance. The metrics of friendship have been replaced by followers, messages, and likes. Yet the majority of these links are hollow. They demand attention but give no strength. The Stoic redefines connection as alignment of principle, not frequency of contact. Each person must audit their circle as seriously as their finances. Both determine the quality of life. Weak social investments drain time and yield regret. Strong ones yield growth and peace. The Stoic keeps this audit continuous. They prune without hesitation. They measure relationships by virtue, not longevity. Boundaries protect clarity. Without them, external noise enters. Weak individuals often mistake access for importance. The Stoic teaches through distance that access must be earned, not assumed. This boundary is not cruelty, it is calibration. When everyone has access, standards vanish. When standards vanish, respect dies. Energy conservation is a principle of endurance. Every interaction costs something: focus, emotion, willpower. The disciplined person learns to spend these resources intentionally. They withdraw from gossip, argument, and trivial talk. Their speech becomes measured. Their silence becomes strategic. The fewer words they waste, the more strength they retain. A weak circle thrives on comfort. They fear conflict and avoid accountability. The Stoic thrives on truth. They confront with calm precision. They correct their own flaws publicly and accept correction privately. This integrity ensures the weak cannot erode their foundation. The Stoic does not shrink their standards to accommodate others. They live as proof that higher conduct is attainable. Mentorship replaces friendship at elevated levels of discipline. When clarity reaches a certain height, fewer people can walk beside you. This is not isolation, it is refinement of resonance. The Stoic respects hierarchy in knowledge. They seek wisdom from those ahead, share lessons with those behind, and remain grounded in humility. Pride isolates, humility elevates. The company you keep shapes your mental posture. Around the undisciplined, discipline feels foreign. Around the focused, it feels natural. Environment dictates what is normal. To grow strong, one must normalize strength. The Stoic does this intentionally. They surround themselves with those who embody what they aspire to maintain. When people leave your life, see it as nature pruning the unnecessary. Some departures are silent blessings. The Stoic accepts loss as process. They do not cling to familiarity. They move forward with clarity, without resentment or nostalgia. Attachment to what weakens you is self-sabotage disguised as loyalty. Seneca said, "Choose someone whose way of life as well as words and whose very face have won your approval." This advice is timeless. Choose circles where conduct aligns with speech, where strength is visible, not performed. The company of the consistent becomes fertile soil for stability. Many fear judgment for cutting ties, but remaining among the unmotivated betrays potential. The world respects distance when results manifest. Initially, silence is questioned. Then it is imitated. The Stoic leads through example, not explanation. Progress itself becomes the argument. Discipline isolates before it elevates. The bridge between loneliness and alignment is built through consistency. The Stoic uses this phase to harden will. They study, train, build, and refine. Eventually, the right people appear, those who share standards, not history. Weak social circles often hide behind humor. Sarcasm replaces sincerity, mockery replaces honesty. These are defense mechanisms of the insecure. The Stoic does not respond in kind. They remain calm, measured, and detached. Composure exposes immaturity without words. Strength is silent correction. Every gathering either sharpens or dulls the blade of character. The Stoic treats association as training. To sit with disciplined minds is to train endurance. To linger with chaotic minds is to train indulgence. The environment is the gym of the mind. Weak company is junk food for the soul. As life progresses, relationships simplify. The Stoic no longer seeks approval or validation. They value alignment over affection, peace over popularity, quality over quantity. Their social world shrinks yet strengthens. Noise fades, signal remains. Cutting weak social circles protects purpose. It is not rejection, it is refinement. The person you wish to become cannot coexist with every influence of your past. The higher the standard, the smaller the circle. Strength demands selectivity. When alignment is achieved, solitude no longer feels empty, it feels fortified. The Stoic moves through life with quiet confidence, surrounded by those who challenge them and distanced from those who drain them. Their circle is not large, but it is unbreakable. In this strength, life becomes clearer. Energy flows to purpose rather than people. Time serves growth instead of noise. The individual stands firm within a circle of integrity, immune to mediocrity. Epictetus taught that one must keep company only with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. This is the essence of cutting weak social circles, creating a life where only strength remains. Chapter 4. Cut emotional reactivity. Emotional reactivity marks a mind that has yet to gain command over itself. The Stoic views emotion not as an enemy, but as a force to be directed. When emotion governs the day, clarity vanishes. When clarity vanishes, chaos dictates decisions. The modern world provokes constantly. Outrage is currency, reaction is entertainment. Yet every reaction costs energy, focus, and self-control. Living reactively surrenders sovereignty, one outburst at a time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle underpins Stoic composure. It begins with awareness. Every provocation tests whether you command the mind or the mind commands you. Most people fail. This test occurs daily. People argue online, take offense at strangers, and allow emotion to dictate their peace. The Stoic refuses to participate. Emotional control is not suppression, it is discipline. To suppress is to bury emotion alive, it will return stronger. To discipline is to observe it, understand it, and redirect it. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Each emotional trigger is an opportunity to train endurance. The Stoic does not flee the moment, they use it to refine composure. The reactive mind seeks validation through expression. It wants to be seen, heard, and justified. It believes that expressing every feeling equals authenticity. But uncontrolled expression is not strength, it is dependence. When your peace relies on others' understanding, you have surrendered command. The Stoic learns to stand within silence. They act without announcing. They respond without reacting. In modern life, emotional reactivity has been normalized. Outrage culture rewards volatile. Algorithms amplify anger because engagement depends on it. People wake searching for something to oppose. The Stoic recognizes this as slavery. To be provoked is to be owned. As Epictetus said, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. The Stoic's goal is to remain unowned. Anger is the easiest path to weakness. It blinds judgment, shortens breath, and narrows focus. It creates motion without direction. The disciplined person understands that anger often masks fear or insecurity. To conquer anger, one must examine its root. What fear fuels it? What attachment sustains it? Once understood, anger dissolves under reason. The Stoic replaces reaction with reflection. Anxiety is another form of emotional reactivity, anticipation of loss of control. The modern mind is conditioned to expect catastrophe. News cycles and social feeds cultivate this fear. The Stoic returns to the present. They ask, what can I control right now? The answer is almost always the same: perception, action, effort. By focusing on these, the cycle of anxiety breaks. Serenity returns through disciplined focus. Emotional reactivity often hides within conversation. People interrupt, defend, and argue without listening. The reactive person seeks to win, not to understand. The Stoic seeks clarity, not victory. They listen fully, speak briefly, and measure every word. Silence becomes a weapon. Presence becomes a defense. The calm person dominates the chaotic one simply by refusing to play. The first step in cutting reactivity is awareness. You cannot control what you do not observe. The Stoic practices internal observation daily. They watch thoughts without judgment. They notice when the body tightens, when the voice rises, when ego demands validation. This awareness interrupts automatic behavior. Once interruption occurs, freedom begins. The second step is to delay response. Reaction is instinctive. Response is deliberate. Between impulse and action, the Stoic inserts pause. That pause is strength. It is the space where reason enters. In that stillness, clarity speaks louder than anger. This small delay transforms outcomes entirely. The person who pauses controls the situation. The third step is detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference, it means perspective. The Stoic views each scenario from above, as if observing from a height. Distance diminishes emotional distortion. What seemed urgent becomes trivial. What felt personal becomes irrelevant. This mental distance converts emotion into data. In conflict, the Stoic asks, "Does this deserve my peace?" Most answers are no. Very few circumstances merit emotional expenditure. Energy should be reserved for what builds life, not what fuels chaos. The Stoic's restraint is not weakness, it is precision. Every reaction withheld strengthens resolve. The modern individual is conditioned to respond to everything. Notifications, opinions, insults, praise, they all demand attention. But attention is finite. To waste it on noise is to weaken purpose. Emotional neutrality becomes a superpower in a culture addicted to outrage. The Stoic cultivates it through daily mental fasting, no arguments, no comparisons, no indulgence in emotional highs or lows. A person ruled by emotion cannot lead. Leadership demands composure. The Stoic knows that calm is contagious. When others panic, their stillness becomes an anchor. People trust the steady hand amid chaos. This steadiness is not innate, it is trained. It is forged through repeated exposure to pressure without surrender. Seneca warned, "He who angers you conquers you." The Stoic lives this truth daily. Each refusal to yield to provocation reclaims territory within. The reactive person expends energy on battles that do not matter. The disciplined person reserves it for battles that do. Modern environments test emotional control relentlessly. Traffic, deadlines, conversations, digital comments. Each is an invitation to lose composure. The Stoic declines the invitation. They let the world spin while remaining still. Stillness is not passivity, it is mastery of motion. It is control without rigidity. The Stoic reframes insult as information. Every provocation reveals something about the other person's state of mind. The insult reflects them, not you. The disciplined individual interprets emotion as data, not threat. Understanding replaces offense. Compassion replaces judgment. This is control guided by wisdom. To cut emotional reactivity, ego must be removed from interpretation. Ego personalizes everything. It turns neutral events into attacks and correction into insult. The Stoic dissolves ego by remembering the smallness of self within the vastness of nature. Perspective softens pride. Pride fuels reactivity. Humility quiets it. The strongest minds remain tranquil under both praise and critique. Both are external, temporary, subjective, irrelevant to inner virtue. The Stoic accepts praise with detachment, criticism with grace. Identity rests on action, not opinion. Applause or disapproval cannot sway their path. Composure is not natural, it is trained through friction. Each emotional trial is a repetition. Each act of restraint strengthens mastery. Like muscles growing under resistance, so too does emotional stability grow through challenge. The Stoic seeks moments to test calm. Traffic jams, rude comments, unexpected stress. Each is a training ground for mastery. Emotional reactivity erodes relationships. People remember tone more than truth. The Stoic uses speech as a tool of harmony. They choose words to calm, not inflame. They understand silence often communicates more than explanation. They win arguments by refusing to argue. The reactive mind mistakes delay for defeat, believing action must be immediate. True control often looks like stillness. The Stoic knows time reveals truth. They let events unfold before judgment. Patience outweighs impulse. Delay becomes strategy. Each morning is an opportunity to reset emotional posture. The Stoic begins with reflection. They visualize challenges, traffic, conflict, stress, and prepare their response. This premeditatio malorum transforms potential frustration into training. Nothing surprises the prepared mind. Evening reflection closes the cycle. They review the day. Where did emotion rule? Where did reason prevail? Victories and failures are recorded without judgment. Awareness is refined. Over time, turbulence fades, stillness becomes default. Modern anger often stems from overstimulation. Too much input, too many opinions, too little reflection. The Stoic cuts input to preserve stability. Detachment. The Stoic's peace is not fragile, it is unassailable. As Seneca wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Each test becomes polish, each restraint becomes refinement. The outcome is presence, a calm that cannot be faked, a steadiness that influences others. This composure radiates quiet authority. The Stoic does not preach control, they embody it. Their emotional neutrality becomes an invitation to rise, to think, to act with dignity. To cut emotional reactivity is to end enslavement to impulse. It is the reclaiming of the throne of the mind. In a world addicted to outrage, the Stoic becomes a fortress of calm. They respond with clarity, live with balance, and lead with stillness. This is mastery, silent, grounded, immovable. Chapter 5. Cut excuses and rationalizations. Excuses are the language of stagnation. Rationalizations are the stories we tell ourselves to make weakness appear reasonable. The Stoic recognizes both as the greatest thieves of potential. Every time a person says, "I'll start tomorrow," they trade momentum for comfort. Every justification is a quiet betrayal of discipline. The path to strength does not require more motivation. It requires removing permission to remain the same. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Excuses are arguments with reality. They disguise avoidance as logic. They make inaction appear justified. The Stoic does not negotiate with delay. They act. They understand that time spent rationalizing cannot be reclaimed. Every moment of explanation stolen from action is a moment stolen from progress. Rationalization often sounds intelligent. It uses reasoning to defend comfort. It says, "I am resting because recovery is important," when in truth it is avoiding effort. It says, "I'll begin when conditions improve," when conditions are irrelevant. The Stoic sees through these illusions. They know action is pure. It needs no decoration, no justification. To act is enough. The modern world encourages justification. It rewards complaint and victimhood. People bond over struggle, not strength. The Stoic separates from this culture. Life is neutral. Events are not personal, only interpreted personally. To cut excuses is to accept full responsibility for direction, regardless of circumstance. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Excuses are the primary waste. They appear small, but they accumulate. The excuse to sleep longer, to skip a workout, to avoid a hard conversation, all compound into mediocrity. Discipline decays silently under the cover of rationalization. The Stoic mind is surgical in identifying self-deception. They question their own reasoning. Is this true or comfortable? That question exposes excuses instantly. Truth demands discomfort. Comfort demands rationalization. Every decision becomes a choice between progress and protection. The disciplined choose progress. Excuses feed on comparison. People say others have it easier, or if I had their circumstances, I would succeed too. The Stoic rejects this weakness. Comparison distracts. It shifts attention from what can be done now. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The Stoic turns energy inward, where excuses suffocate. Procrastination is rationalization masquerading as patience. It tells the mind there will be a better moment. There is no better moment, only the present. The Stoic acts before motivation arrives. Movement creates momentum, not the reverse. Waiting weakens, acting strengthens. The disciplined hear excuses as alarms. "I don't have time" signals disorganization. "I'm too tired" reveals poor energy management. "I'm not ready" exposes fear. The Stoic does not argue with excuses, they dismantle the causes. Rationalization is the mind's defense against growth. It protects identity from transformation. Growth threatens familiarity, and the mind resists through stories. The Stoic counters with logic. Fact replaces feeling. Narrative yields to action. They recognize that justification always precedes decline. Excuses thrive in groups. In weak circles, standards drop. Delay becomes normalized by collective consent. Everyone is tired, everyone struggles. The Stoic refuses to join these conversations. Shared weakness comforts but leads to decay. Shared discipline demands but delivers freedom. Internal dialogue is precise. The Stoic speaks to themselves as a commander to a soldier. Orders are executed, not debated. Internal firmness removes the need for justification. When action is decided, it is done. This is clarity, not cruelty. Emotional softness is replaced with operational discipline. Rationalizing minds often blame environment, my schedule, my upbringing, my circumstances. Yet history is full of those who rose from worse conditions. The Stoic sees that limitation is rarely external. The greater battle is internal. Master the mind, master environment. To cut excuses is to simplify life. Complexity breeds justification. Simplicity removes it. The Stoic organizes life to reduce decisions. Systems replace willpower. Morning routines, training schedules, disciplined habits, all remove chances to rationalize. When structure exists, emotion loses control. Excuses also hide behind kindness. I don't want to be selfish covers. Avoidance. I don't want to hurt anyone masks indecision. The Stoic acts with integrity, not guilt. They know honesty may sting, but dishonesty kills progress. Strength demands clean truth. Delay is decay. Each postponed task corrodes momentum. Negotiation with lethargy is forbidden. Seneca wrote, "While we are postponing, life speeds by." The Stoic moves even when uninspired. Action precedes feeling, clarity follows movement. To cut excuses, replace explanation with execution. When justification arises, act before it multiplies. Each act through resistance weakens hesitation, each delay strengthens it. The mind mirrors repeated patterns. Excuses feel safe. They preserve comfort and protect ego. But comfort is captivity. The Stoic treats comfort as a test. They choose what strengthens, not what soothes. Strength grows in resistance. Rationalization often borrows moral language. I'm resting to recover. I'm thinking before acting. I'm waiting for clarity. The Stoic sees through it. Action alone speaks. The Stoic demands evidence. Is recovery earned or premature? Is preparation genuine or simply avoidance? Is waiting strategic or lazy? The answer reveals integrity. The disciplined mind knows that every excuse carries a price. The body softens. The will weakens. Standards erode. The Stoic guards standards with vigilance. Small excuses are treated as infections. Left unchecked, they spread. Immediate correction preserves strength. The practice of eliminating excuses begins with honesty, ruthless honesty. Without it, growth cannot occur. The Stoic reviews the day and asks, "Where did I deceive myself?" That question exposes every rationalization. Self-deception cannot survive direct light. The stronger the honesty, the faster the transformation. Excuses are emotional comfort disguised as logic. They make failure feel acceptable. The Stoic replaces emotional reasoning. Factual reasoning. Feelings say it is too difficult. Facts say it is not yet mastered. One ends progress, the other begins it. Action dismantles excuses faster than debate. The Stoic does not explain intentions. They demonstrate results. Words create illusion. Action creates proof. When commitment is placed on outcomes, justification loses relevance. Excuses erode self-respect. Each broken promise weakens trust in one's own word. The Stoic treats promises to self as sacred. Integrity begins internally. When they say "I will," it becomes law. Discipline is self-respect in motion. Many confuse forgiveness with tolerance. Forgiving failure is necessary. Tolerating excuses is not. Forgiveness heals. Tolerance enables decay. The Stoic forgives the past but refuses to excuse repetition. Accountability is the highest form of self-respect. Rationalization thrives in idle minds. When purpose is absent, excuses multiply to fill the void. The Stoic eliminates idleness through structure. Purpose creates urgency. Urgency destroys justification. Each day is measured by what was built, not what was planned. Weakness hides behind sophisticated reasoning. The undisciplined explain endlessly. The disciplined act silently. Excuses end where consistency begins. The Stoic chooses repetition over rhetoric. Consistency is philosophy in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Stop wandering about. Get busy with life's purpose." The Stoic applies this to every domain. Thinking about improvement replaces improvement itself. Action cuts through hesitation. Excuses feed fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. The Stoic confronts fear with logic. What is truly at risk? Usually only ego. When ego loses authority, excuses collapse. Courage begins when fear is named. Rationalization sometimes disguises itself as humility. I am not ready yet. But humility without effort is false modesty. The Stoic pairs humility with relentless action. Imperfection is accepted without delay. Waiting for perfection is another excuse in disguise. The disciplined person treats their word as a contract. To break it is to surrender command of the mind. Each kept promise strengthens willpower. Each broken promise amplifies excuses. Consistency becomes the measure of mastery. Excuses sound reasonable because they align with comfort. Logic bends to emotion. The Stoic restores logic through discipline. Act first, analyze later. Clarity emerges through movement, not speculation. When excuses are removed, truth stands exposed. Truth may be uncomfortable, but it is clean. Excuses are comfortable but corrosive. The Stoic chooses discomfort that strengthens over comfort that weakens. This choice defines character. Cutting excuses builds identity. Each disciplined act reinforces self-respect. Each rejected rationalization builds trust in inner strength. Confidence grows not from success, but from consistency. To live without excuses is to live in full ownership. No external blame, no internal negotiation. Every outcome becomes feedback, not failure. This is freedom. The world rewards justification. It applauds eloquent failure more than silent consistency. The Stoic rejects this illusion. They live for results, not recognition. True respect is earned privately long before it is seen publicly. In the end, excuses are surrender. They trade discipline for ease, potential for safety, progress for comfort. The Stoic chooses war, with comfort over peace, with weakness. They live precisely, act decisively, think without deception. Cutting excuses reclaims personal truth. No hiding behind reasons, only results. Execution replaces explanation. Words mean nothing without consistent action. In this clarity, freedom begins. The self becomes trustworthy. Chapter 6. Cut Nigel. CT of the body. The body is the foundation of discipline. It is the vessel through which thought, will, and intention operate. To neglect it is to weaken every domain of life. The Stoic understands philosophy is not spoken alone. It is lived through posture, breath, and endurance. A fatigued body distorts thought. Strength of mind requires strength of body. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Build your life action by action. Every action begins in the body. When the body deteriorates, discipline follows." Modern comfort has normalized physical neglect. People sit more than they move, consume more than they expend, scroll more than they sweat. Effort has been replaced by convenience. Comfort is constant. The body adapts by growing weaker. The Stoic sees this as spiritual decay made visible. A soft body often conceals a soft will. The disciplined treat the body as duty, not worship. Stewardship. Training honors the mechanism that enables achievement. Seneca wrote, "It is disgraceful to grow old without knowing the strength your body is capable of." This is not vanity. It is gratitude expressed through action. A trained body declares order. Neglect begins subtly. One skipped workout, one poor meal justified by stress, one night of stimulation replacing rest. Each choice compounds. The Stoic sees through the illusion of small decisions. Decay never arrives suddenly. It is earned quietly, built slowly, quietly, and by choice. The body records every decision. It stores memory in posture, in breath, in stamina. Discipline of the body is discipline of the mind made visible. The same laws apply: consistency over comfort, precision over impulse, patience over indulgence. The body is a teacher that never flatters. It returns exactly what is invested. Effort produces strength. Laziness produces weakness. The feedback is immediate, impartial, and exact. The Stoic begins the day through the body. Movement sharpens thought. Cold exposure heightens awareness. Stillness afterward cultivates patience. Physical ritual anchors the mind in reality. Modern life has fractured this unity, thinking without doing, knowing without applying. The Stoic restores alignment. Philosophy without embodiment is incomplete. Training is not about appearance, it is about capacity. A capable body endures longer, concentrates deeper, and resists fatigue that collapses the untrained. The disciplined body obeys command instantly. It does not bargain with laziness. This obedience extends into every domain of life. The one who governs the body governs the day. Neglect begins with excuse. I am too busy. I will start later. I am too old. Each justification is surrender. The Stoic understands movement is not optional, it is elemental. Breathing, walking, lifting, stretching. These are expressions of life itself. To abandon them is to betray vitality. The body neglected today becomes the burden carried tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that stray. Engaged needs no praise, it is self-evident. The Stoic does not train for attention. They train to preserve sovereignty. When the body is disciplined, the mind follows. Sloth cannot coexist with a strong pulse and steady breath. In midlife and beyond, neglect accelerates decay. Resistance comes not from age but from disuse. The Stoic knows longevity is measured not in years but in capacity, the ability to move, think, and act with clarity. Every session of training, every intentional meal, every hour of rest is rebellion against decline. The modern excuse of no time is false. Time exists for what is prioritized. Neglect hides in disorder, not in scarcity. The Stoic reorganizes life around movement. Walking replaces scrolling. Standing replaces sitting. Rising early protects energy before the world demands it. These shifts restore command. The condition of the body reflects the discipline of the mind. Excess weight mirrors excess comfort. Chronic fatigue mirrors chaotic routine. The Stoic reads the body as evidence. If decay appears, the response is correction, not shame. The body rebuilds readily when given direction. Nutrition is philosophy in action. It tests restraint, foresight, and patience. Eating for pleasure alone belongs to impulse. Eating for strength belongs to discipline. The Stoic eats intentionally. Food is fuel, not entertainment. Simplicity replaces indulgence. Seneca warned that many addictions appear harmless while quietly weakening the soul. Excess consumption disguises itself as convenience. Sleep is also discipline. Staying awake for distraction is self-sabotage disguised as leisure. The Stoic guards rest as fiercely as effort. Clear thought requires deep restoration. To neglect sleep is to neglect reason itself. Rest is strategic, not excessive. Environment mirrors inner order. Clutter breeds lethargy. Order invites movement. The Stoic shapes surroundings to support strength. Weights visible, paths clear, distractions reduced. Weakness encounters friction. Discipline meets ease. Neglect appears in posture, collapsed shoulders, shallow breath, restless habits. These are physical symptoms of mental fatigue. The Stoic corrects posture as they correct thought. Upright stance, deep breath, intentional movement. The body shapes the mind it carries. Pain instructs. Modern culture avoids it. The Stoic studies it. Pain reveals limits and clarifies signal from noise. Discomfort builds tolerance. To flee pain is to flee growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what is endurable must be endured without complaint. Difficulty forges resilience. Neglect of the body surrenders control. Dependence on stimulants, medication, and convenience becomes normal. The Stoic minimizes dependency. They rely first on internal systems, strength, endurance, mobility, fasting. These are not trends. They are ancient disciplines that reconnect the human being to natural rhythm. The Stoic does not chase extremes. They pursue balance, effort and recovery, nourishment and restraint, reflection and movement. Mastery of this rhythm is mastery of vitality. Mood follows motion. Anxiety, anger, and despair diminish when the body moves daily. Physical exertion clears emotional residue. A calm mind begins with a moving body. Endless sitting invites decay of structure and spirit. Discipline extends to restraint, appetite, sensuality, indulgence. Desire does not command behavior. This is not denial, it is direction. Controlled desire fuels creation. Uncontrolled desire consumes life force. Cutting neglect of the body reclaims time. Fatigue steals hours meant for purpose. Weakness drains willpower rapidly. A disciplined body expands usable life. Each gain in health multiplies focus and output. Strength creates time through efficiency. The modern idea of balance often excuses neglect. Poor health justified by career or family is false balance. When the body declines, everything declines. Energy is the currency of leadership, creativity, and love. Without it, all domains erode. A healthy body sharpens judgment. Circulation fuels cognition. A clear system produces a clear mind. The Stoic uses movement to solve problems. Walking becomes meditation. Training becomes reflection. The body becomes an instrument of philosophy. Aging is a test of consistency. The body changes, but the standard remains. Adaptation replaces excuse. Training shifts toward longevity without surrender. Each decade refines endurance. Neglect corrodes confidence. Weak posture projects uncertainty. Strong posture communicates composure before words are spoken. The Stoic understands strength speaks silently. Relaxation is often confused with restoration. Entertainment drains energy, effort renews it. True rest restores capacity. Cold exposure, stretching, nature, solitude, leisure without discipline decays. Physical discipline strengthens emotional control. Fatigue and recovery teach patience, humility, and persistence. These traits transfer into every area of life. The disciplined body becomes philosophy in form. The Stoic approaches the body with gratitude. Training is privilege, not burden. Illness and injury remind of fragility. Health is a resource to be invested wisely. To neglect it is to disrespect vitality. Movement returns the mind to presence. Screens scatter attention. Exertion anchors it. Elevated heart rate clears thought. Deep breath stabilizes emotion. Training becomes a return to now. Physical mastery protects peace. A capable body does not fear the unexpected. Readiness creates calm. Confidence is preparation expressed through posture. Cutting neglect aligns physical form with philosophical conviction. Strength supports UE. Endurance sustains discipline. Health sustains purpose. Balance is not passive. It is precise synchronization of body and mind under one command. Seneca wrote that misery and weakness begin with belief. The body is capable of far more than the mind assumes. The Stoic proves this through consistency, not belief. They train daily as faith in potential. The body built becomes armor for the mind. Protection against fatigue, distraction, and fear. It need not be perfect, it must be prepared. Each day of discipline adds unseen strength, deeply felt. To master the body is to master the foundation of life. The Stoic does not pursue comfort or appearance, they pursue capability, they train for readiness, they build systems that survive when motivation fades. In this strength, they discover peace. Neglect is self-abandonment. Discipline is self-respect. The Stoic chooses discipline. Every movement, every repetition, every intentional meal is a declaration. I am in command. The body responds. The mind aligns. Life falls under a single principle. Order. Chapter 7. Cut aimless drift. Drift is the quiet destroyer of progress. It does not attack, it erodes. It begins when direction dissolves. When daily actions disconnect from a larger aim. The Stoic knows that without purpose, discipline weakens. Energy loses direction. Motion without meaning becomes exhaustion. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a person's life is shaped by their thoughts. Thought guides movement. Without direction, even effort is wasted. Modern life encourages drift. Endless choices disguise indecision as freedom. Motion is mistaken for progress. Busyness is mistaken for meaning. The Stoic rejects this deception. Focus becomes rebellion in a distracted age. To cut drift is to choose purpose consciously, to define what matters and organize each day around it. Purpose does not require spectacle. It requires clarity. The Stoic asks what is essential. They remove what does not serve virtue, growth, or contribution. Drift flourishes in clutter. Clarity thrives in simplicity. One who knows their direction stops wasting energy on decisions. They execute what is necessary. Each morning becomes an audit. Intention precedes action. The Stoic knows that every day without aim strengthens drift. Small actions aligned with purpose generate momentum. Large actions without purpose collapse into fatigue. Discipline is structure, not confinement. It channels energy instead of scattering it. To cut drift is to reclaim authorship of life. The Stoic no longer moves by impulse or imitation. They move by design. Seneca wrote that a man who does not know his destination will never find a favorable wind. Distraction is endless. Direction must be deliberate. Purpose transforms existence into progress and time into achievement. Chapter 8. Cut dependence on comfort. Comfort erodes what discipline builds. The Stoic understands that ease is pleasant but dangerous when constant. A body accustomed to comfort forgets endurance. A mind protected from struggle loses strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote that life is closer to wrestling than dancing. It demands tension, not softness. Strength is born from friction. Growth requires resistance. Comfort, when idolized, becomes decay. Modern life is engineered for ease. Chairs replace movement. Screens replace engagement. Delivery replaces effort. Inconvenience has been designed out of existence. With each removed hardship, resilience thins. The Stoic does not reject comfort. They refuse to depend on it. Dependency turns tools into traps. The disciplined choose voluntary discomfort. They fast, train, rise early, endure cold, and work beyond convenience. These acts are not punishment. They are reminders. The body remembers its endurance. The mind remembers its authority. Seneca advised setting aside days of simple living to confront the fear of deprivation. This practice dissolves fear and replaces it with confidence. Comfort dulls gratitude. When life is effortless, appreciation fades. The Stoic uses hardship to sharpen awareness. Cold makes warmth meaningful. Hunger restores reverence for food. Effort renews the value of rest. Discomfort revives gratitude. To cut dependence on comfort is to rebuild readiness. The Stoic trains for endurance, not appearance. They prepare for disruption and uncertainty. Those dependent on ease panic when it vanishes. The disciplined adapt immediately. They expect adversity and meet it calmly. Comfort no longer controls them, it serves them. Chapter 9. Cut inconsistent identity. Identity is formed through repeated action, not spoken intention. The Stoic knows character is revealed under pressure. Words may inspire, but behavior confirms truth. Marcus Aurelius warned against arguing about virtue instead of living it. Inconsistency fractures integrity. It separates thought from action, appearance from virtue, philosophy from life. When identity shifts with mood or convenience, trust collapses. The Stoic seeks alignment. What they believe, say, and do must match. Under strain, under fatigue, under temptation, they remain the same. Consistency creates credibility. Repetition forges character. The Stoic understands that integrity is not claimed, it is demonstrated daily. To live split is to live at war with yourself. Modern culture rewards display over principle. Many talk about discipline while living in distraction. Many showcase strength yet collapse under pressure. The Stoic refuses this fracture. Integrity is not what is presented, it is what endures when no one is watching. A disciplined life demands unity of values, purpose, and behavior. Each day becomes evidence of belief. The Stoic measures alignment quietly. Their words are matched by action. Their goals are reinforced by habits. Their presence reflects their principles. There is no double life, no concealed version of the self. When identity is consistent, confusion dissolves and calm emerges. A unified individual moves with precision. Decisions become simple because every choice is filtered through the same code. Inconsistency is self-betrayal. It teaches the mind that promises are meaningless. Every broken commitment weakens trust in oneself. The Stoic restores this trust by aligning action with intention again and again. The aim is not flawlessness, but dependability. Strength grows through predictable adherence to principle. To cut inconsistent identity is to live as one person, stable, grounded, complete. The Stoic no longer changes with circumstance. They are identical in silence and in speech, in solitude and in company. This unity is rare in a divided age, and it is the source of real power. Consistency creates credibility. Credibility creates influence. Influence rooted in integrity reshapes the world. The one who masters consistency becomes immovable. They stop wasting energy maintaining masks. Attention turns inward toward refinement rather than performance. The mind settles, the will hardens, life aligns. Seneca wrote that well-being is built gradually and yet is no small thing. Consistency in small moments becomes greatness over time. The Stoic's identity is not ornamentation, it is discipline. It is the daily choice to live what is spoken and embody what is believed. When the inner world and the outer world reflect one another, strength becomes natural. This is the final cut, the end of inner division. What remains is integrity in motion, principle made visible, philosophy lived.